Hi guys, and welcome back to Fish Johnny. Today we're going to be talking through, we're going to be talking through the controversial subject of salt in your koi fish pond. Now, I've done a lot of research, let me get rid of the sun. I've done a lot of research into this and looked into it as much as I possibly can to develop my own opinion, because I think it is an opinion thing. Obviously there is some facts based on like the salinity, and you can go well too far with the salt and kill your fish, so that's a little bit frightening. I've seen videos out there that are like salt not in my koi pond. I enjoyed that one. And a lot of people don't have salt in the koi ponds because a lot of people have heaters on the koi ponds. I don't yet have a heater on my koi pond just yet, so I'm thinking from what I've read that during the winter or start of autumn and for winter it's good to have a bit of salt in your pond, raising the levels to about 0.2, 0.3, just to encourage the fish to fight against bacteria. It's good against bacterial things. I've got a few bits wrote down. Good for defending against bacteria, defends against parasites, not sure which ones, but fights against nitrite toxicity, improves the mucus slime coat, so I think that's a massive one because it push that all the time. And yeah, so they're the general benefits. I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth on some of the articles I've read and how I've made my decision, but then I'm going to put the salt in my pond. My pond alone is 11,500 gallons, and the Nexus is there at 510 gallons, the 220, and the pipe work and everything will have about 500 litres in, I think, with the skimmer included in that and some other bits and pieces. So looking at about 12,500 litres of water in my pond. I want to take the pond water to 0.2 just to be on the safe side, not 0.3. So I'm just trying this out. I obviously don't want to burn my fish or kill my fish or put them in any danger, so I just got to take it slowly. So I'm going to be doing two sections, 12.5 kilos on day one, 12.5 kilos on day two, and then the fish will have some salty water to make them feel better. You probably won't see any fish because it's early in the day and the sun is blazing here in Manchester. Don't know why it's blazing, but it is. So yeah, I'm just going to read a few of these articles through about how they contributed to my decision. So the first article I read is about the fish. As you know, koi are freshwater fish, and too much salt can kill them. We'd recommend keeping your salt level to 0.1 for the best results. The salt level of your pond should be tested when the pond is set up and whenever a water change is made. In the medical usage for the koi ponds, it should be raised from 0.3 to 0.6 depending on what it's used for. This is typically enough to handle common illnesses and should not exceed unless advised to by a veterinary person. So you can see here it's saying that the fish are freshwater fish, koi obviously, and the salt is actually good for them at a low level, but it's super dangerous. It does not push sick fish over the edge. It eliminates 7 out of 9 parasites commonly found in your pond, which would be wonderful if it did. It reduces the effect of nitrite toxicity. It stimulates mucus slime coat production. It does not get bound out of the system by organics or sunlight. So basically when the sunlight hits it, which isn't going to be much over the winter, it doesn't evaporate, it stays in your pond, which causes another problem because, well, not another problem, but why you need to monitor it next time I do it, just because the salt may not have left the pond. So it's something to consider. If you've already salted your pond, don't just salt it again with the same dose. Make sure you check it first. It's inexpensive, always a good thing. It won't harm your filter, so like the bacteria that's built up in the Nexus and that, so that's a good thing. Has no expiration date, so it stays for a long time. Here's a bit of interesting information about the fish. They have an internal salt concentration of 1%. Okay, so that's good. And then this makes me sound like I'm back at school, but osmosis, which I had to Google, which I'll read out about that. Fish basically breathe in through the skin and through the gills, and the higher they have salt within the body. You're gonna have to forgive me with this because I'm learning about it, but they have salt within the body, which makes them consume more water, which means that it makes it more challenging for the fish, so they have to pee out more of it to maintain the accurate salt levels within their body. This is harder than you think. So obviously raising the salt content within the water reduces the strain on the fish, therefore they don't have to pee out as much of it as they used to. So therefore, during the winter time, they're a little bit more chilled, they're a little bit more relaxed, and they don't have to do it. Salt concentration between 0.3 and 0.5 will upset the osmotic balance of some parasites. So therefore, their cells will dehydrate and they will die. That's how it kills the parasites at 0.3 to 0.5. Adding salt in the pond, especially in fall or winter, will help fish survive the long cold winters, because that's what we have up here in Manchester. So back to osmosis. Fish breathe through their gills. Small holes and membranes allow tiny oxygen molecules in the waters pass through the fish's body. The large water molecules cannot fit through the holes in the membrane. This process is called osmosis. That is what Google say that osmosis is. Osmoregulations is a process of maintaining an internal balance of salt and water in a fish's body. This is what I was talking about before when it said fish have to wee out because they have too much salt in the body, and this helps them chill out a little bit. A fish is, after all, a collection of fluids floating in a fluid environment with only a thin skin to separate the two. So that's quite interesting in its own right. So that's osmoregulations, which really does make me feel like I'm back at school, because it sounds like something that'd be in a school book along with algebra. Koi issues can salt help with, according to Dr. Eric Johnson, an author of Koi Health and Disease. Salt at 0.3% is credited with a clearance of the following issues. I'm actually going to get that book because it actually does sound good. Now you're going to have to forgive me because I'm not very good at reading them. I'm dyslexic. My wife has to read subtitles to me on the finger, so it's probably going to sound a bit stupid, this, but nonetheless it will probably make you laugh like it makes my mates laugh. The fact I can't read doctors style big words. So here we are. The first one is Chiladinella epistylis. This next one is something else. Ichthyopteris costacesis tricha from Fryer Glostella. In fact, you know what, I'm going to just copy and paste this and put it in the notes because I cannot read it out and it is just like a little bit silly, but nonetheless, anyway, I went away and I have decided to go with the salt, which I wanted to raise my salt levels in my pond. So I bought this salt. PDF pond salt makes a great addition to any freshwater garden pond, containing the right balance of salt to stabilise the pH levels, neutralise the nitrates. Our salt is great during the winter months as it produces a mucus layer to protect the fish underneath, which is absolutely fantastic because that's what we're looking for. Now I'm going to do the little mix, which I'm not going to video it, and I might video it. Actually, I'll just video it just in case someone's bored out there. So I'll video it. I'm going to put the water in the bucket. Okay, so my hair's all messed up now as it's growing. This is the salt that I was talking about. This salt is going to go in there. This is a 25 kilogram bag, and we're going to add half of this, or 12.5 kilos, in to the water to raise the 12,500 litres of waters salinity levels to 0.1, and the next day it'll be 0.2 because we'll have the other 12.5 and we can monitor the fish. So let's get it poured in. A little bit, tiny bit more on that behalf. Perfect. Okay, I couldn't find anything professional to mix with, so it's just going to have to be a brush. I'm damn sure no one wants to watch that for like the next 10 minutes of me doing that, so believe me, I carry on with it. Okay, so that's success. We've added 12.5 kilos of salt to the pond, and we'll check back over, put the other 12.5, providing everything goes right, in tomorrow.